Okay.
Are you going to be our special guest?
He's our special little guy. He's our champion. Is he staying up here for the episode?
He can. Let's see how long he makes it.
As long as he doesn't get on any other tables. He's
That's
so
fine.
cute. He's a champion.
Well, maybe that'll distract from my lack of progress this week.
I am going to bring in the ship to this today because you have done...
I've done stuff. I haven't...
Yeah, you've taken a nap. You've taken a nap Saturday for a few hours. Took a nap after work today for a few hours.
I was tired.
Okay. I just know things weren't being made from one of us.
I've made amazing progress. However, my sewing machine had to be taken in on Sunday, which I even delayed to make progress.
Very true. I'll give you that one.
And I had naps to take.
You had a few naps to take this. You need a weekend off. I mean, you can't be doing it all the time.
No, I've been taking naps after work, too.
Oh, but you have been, actually. While I'm making dinner again. But maybe it's like my parents' house. Like, for Christmas, my sister would get the big gift one year, then I would get the big gift the next year. So maybe today's my day to shine.
Well, let's let you shine. Let's start the show.
Let's start the show.
All right. My name is Chip.
My name is Aaron.
I like to sew.
I like to knit and crochet.
And you like to watch.
You do. Fiber Hustle, episode 10.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry.
And this is our special guest, Seamus.
This is our champion, our little buddy. Everything in the world to me.
How old is he now?
I think he's 10. But he acts like he's 2. And he just got groomed yesterday.
Him's got his
And
nails
he got walked
done.
yesterday. Did he go on a walk yesterday? We take him on a walk like a dog.
Oh, you do?
I do. He loves it. He loves it. He's the best cat ever. We're always taking pictures together and getting into shenanigans.
Oh.
Well, okay. I guess this is...
Well, why he's so good is that he won't bolt out the door. Like, if the screen door's open, there's like this magic force field that he won't cross. But as soon as you get that leash...
Once you put the collar on...
Boom, he goes out like
right this way, Your Majesty.
Mm-hmm. And he gets lots and lots and lots of attention. He likes to dominate in the house, like swatting at your legs and telling you who's boss. And he likes to bite when he's in love.
He likes to scratch. Does anybody else say their cat's name at least 50 times a day? I think we say it. We're like, Seamus! Seamus! And he's just
and he's very verbal.
He's very verbal.
Like, I've never had a cat that talks so much.
He knows he's a champ. Oh,
he likes his belly rubbed.
Oh, well, not right now because I saw the claws come out.
All right, so
anyways,
let's get to work.
What have we been up to besides naps?
I have been taking naps. I had tummy issues, but that has gone.
We don't need a repeat of last episode.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. I think there's something going around, though. There's some people at work with some stuff.
Yeah. So, what have you been up to? Oh, wait, you've been busy.
I've been busy. I've been making, I've been out, I've been doing stuff. I went to Seattle's Men's Knit Night Wednesday at So Much Yarn at Pike's Place Market, finally, and I'm going to spill the tea on all of them. Just kidding.
Stuff that you didn't tell me?
No, they're very nice people. What was it? 2-3 weeks ago, my work went to a Mariners game, so we were downtown anyways. I'm like, I'm going to take my knitting. And I was texting with Chris, who found me through the show. He goes to Seattle Men's Knit Night, all that stuff. And about 2 o'clock, it was one of those days that it was like 90 degrees out. We had that smoke for a week. The smoke that you couldn't see, it was terrible here. And about 2 o'clock, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it because I'm sweaty, I'm gross, the smoke's bothering me. He's like, hey, cool, we're always here. So I went over to Pike's Place. I said, if I can make it the next 2 hours here, because I think it starts at 6, then I'll go. And I kind of hung out. I ended up going. I'm sure I looked like crap. I was sweaty, had a hat on, whatever. And everybody greeted me. Everybody was super nice. had an adult beverage, knitted, kind of chatted a little bit. I didn't want to come off as the new guy that's, they'll soon know I'm a monster. And then I went back last week when there was a bunch more people there, and everybody was just as nice, and I was amazed how many things people were making that I wasn't necessarily jealous of, but some of these people are making pretty amazing stuff. This one guy's making this sweater. I don't even know if he came up with the pattern. I don't think it's a pattern he's following, but it's just amazing. It's like stripes, and the stripes go this way, and there's little squares, and it was very inspiring. It was very nice. It was very colorful. And it was very nice to be around that kind of talent and everybody just hanging out and being nice. So I think I'm going to try to go back every 2 weeks.
Well, how many do you think were there on your first night?
First night, 8 or 9, and last time probably 12 or 13 maybe.
Oh, wow.
I think some of the ones that were there my first night were there, whatever, I don't know. There was more people there last time. And I think I know I looked like crap the first time because the guy who actually let me in said, "I don't think I met you last week." I said, "No, we sat next to each other last time." He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," because that makes me feel like I was a hot mess that day.
It could have been. Oh, don't be that way.
Yeah, I know. But whatever. It was totally fine. Totally going to do it again. Super nice guys. I know they get together on Saturdays and Sundays, but...
You're lucky. I don't know of a men's sewing night in the area.
Yeah, I don't think you can actually just take your sewing machine somewhere and plop it down.
Yes, you can.
Well,
that's exactly what you do.
Why don't you start something then?
Where?
Whoa.
At the church?
Yes, at the local VFW. Is that what they call it? Whatever it is? I don't know. But no, it was super fun. Thanks to those gents for having me. Probably go back every few weeks or at least a couple times a month.
And I hear that there was sex talk.
No, these gentlemen are fine Christian gentlemen.
Okay.
We talked about making pies and doing other stuff. What else is going on?
Oh, okay, so one of the guys, didn't they went to a retreat.
Oh, they all went to, the first time I went, it was right before the retreat, and I guess they had some extra, look at him. Okay, that's going to smear the lens. They had some extra tickets, so they're like, "Why don't you come to the retreat with us?" I was like, "I really can't do this." He looks so, and they can't even see it.
His head is underneath the GoPro, and it's
we could turn that on. He's, like I said, he's a champion. They invited me to the retreat because some people bailed out. We were unable to make it. And then after, it sounds like the retreat was awesome. They got amazing goodie bags. They had some classes and seminars. And I guess they were next to a women's sewing, quilting.
Now, I mean, like, we should have gone.
We should have gone, but we always have next year. Just like Rhinebeck. I think we're going to Rhinebeck next year.
So 2019.
2019 is going to be a year of off-the-chain sewing and knitting and all kinds of stuff. Hopefully. And maybe cat's not on the table. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work.
What else is going on?
Nothing with us. Do you know where we heard our name?
Where?
Welcome to WTF Knitting Podcast.
We were both... He was on the couch knitting, this one. I was at the table sewing. And then all of a sudden, we were just listening to Levi and his podcast. It was about a week ago.
Yeah.
And we both looked up.
And I asked him a question, and he answered it on the show. But then...
Very nice.
He actually said something like he actually watches our show, which we're like...
I don't know if he watches. He watched.
He watched the show. But no, I've been watching him.
I mean, I know you like to watch.
I think I've been watching him since day one, and I admire all his work. And it was
Your
just
day one.
Kind of my day one.
Yeah.
And I was just happy that... I was like, oh my gosh, he mentioned... It was like... Kind of like a little celebrity mentioning us, but...
It was. I mean, I think we both turned red.
Yeah, and we're both... I'm actually from Central Ohio originally, so when he mentioned some places, I'm like, I know exactly where that is, even though I moved like 20 years ago.
No.
Yes! Like, he was at Worthington Square Mall for something a couple weeks ago. I was like, my stage band played there. I had my first guitar solo there. It was terrible. Oh my gosh, it was this bad. But yeah, the shenanigans has already begun here, so... I don't have anything else going on, so maybe we should get into the good stuff.
Let's do it.
Okay, Chip, you made that?
I'm looking. I think I get a big fat 0 this week.
Nothing under the cat.
Nothing.
But
No.
you know what? He is working on something so huge it's going to blow your mind.
So
you
that's
get
the
a
thing.
pass.
Is that this week, there's going to be weeks that, hey, it's just like, oh gosh, I really didn't make anything. Where did my time go? And you realize, oh, everything's in works.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything that I made that. Nothing. But Aaron,
Oh my gosh.
you got to bring the ship in.
I know. So I've been kind of stash busting. I haven't been buying anything. So one thing, Instagram friend of the show, Beth, sent me some yarn probably about 2 months ago. House of Alamode, and here it is. It's kind of gorgeous.
Beth, you did an amazing job.
Yeah,
That was a great pick.
Thank you so much for sending it to me. I love it. And I was like, looking at it. I'm looking at my yarn that's just been sitting there that you buy and sits there. It's like, oh, so pretty. And I was like, no, I got to do stuff with this yarn that's laying around. So I decided to make mittens. I used tin can knits. Is that the maize? Yeah. Maize pattern right here. And it was very easy. I can tell you that if you've watched the show many months ago, I knitted the gloves inside out again. I knew I was doing it, so this time I just went. But I am very happy with them. They're fingerless.
I'll wear one.
Oh, okay, there we go. A little bit of Michael Jackson action. One thing I didn't do is I didn't really alter the pattern very much, but at least I think it wanted me to only do a 1/2 inch or 1 inch of this cuff right here. And I made it a little bit longer. I could have even gone longer.
Well, you know what I just
and
realized?
here at the top, I made longer as well.
If you go longer, it needs to be wider just because I have a watch on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I absolutely love this.
Yes.
I mean, you
I
really
am
did a
very
good job.
happy with this. Very satisfied with them. Put them under here so you can see Wonder Twin Powers activate. Super easy. Nothing, there's no trickery in them or anything. There's some ribbing on the side.
What would trickery be?
Trickery like cables and all that kind of stuff, and which I love doing cables. It's just I wanted something, so it took me about a day to do one. I don't know if that means I'm a slow, average, or fast knitter. I think I'm slow to medium. But no, I'm totally in love with it. I weaved in all my ends. There's only
I would like
couple
to
sections up here I still need to fix just a tad, but
I would like to feel these in the bigger ones because
I made there was a size larger than this. I have small hands,
like
and it's like this went into my feet. My feet are like Sideshow Bob feet. They're large, and my hands are like, so.
What is that dinosaur?
The T-Rex?
The T-Rex.
Yeah, so,
No, really, I couldn't be
Loving 'em.
more impressed. I really like these.
thank you very much.
This is one of my favorite things you've ever made.
And I think I literally have half a skein, whatever, left of this.
So I'll take the
So-
practice ones.
Okay, I can make you those, but then I'm going to make probably an accompanying hat, but I don't know what hat pattern to make. If anybody has a hat pattern suggestion that goes with this kind of yarn, let me know. I don't think I want anything with like a crazy pattern, because then you won't be able to see the stitch definition, because this yarn is so cool. And I smelled it. Yeah. Besides that,
Wait, you made that?
yes, I made that. I got one more thing. I made the Hatch hat from Brooklyn Tweed. I've had this Arbor yarn since I bought, I think, at Vogue Live Knitting Seattle last year, just sitting there. And once again, I was like, it's just sitting there. I loved it then. I still love it now. Make something out of it. So I used Brooklyn Tweed yarn for Brooklyn Tweed hat pattern. And the pattern is by Emily Green. Again, it's called Hatch Hat by Brooklyn Tweed. I think the pattern was like $6, $7, $8, but it was actually kind of worth it. You can fold the brim.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And Here's the top.
Yep.
All that good stuff.
Wait, let me see.
Are you gonna?
Oh, tip your head again. I really like the way you finished that. That was really nice.
One thing I love, Brooklyn Swedes patterns gives you usually sizes for a smaller weight yarn or larger weight yarn. I love their packaging because it's so simple. Here's the arbor, blah, blah. You open it up and it has care instructions, who they are. It's not like everybody has their own thing, but it's not like everything's just bundled into a hot mess. Anyways, and this is the colorway of Klimt, which you've been researching him, haven't you?
So, I bought new fabric, and it was called...
Which we're going to show.
And it's... Well, actually, we can kind of mix things up this week. It was funny. You were at the... on the couch, and then you were Instagramming your make. And then all of a sudden, I'm at the sewing machine, and you're talking out loud. Are you good?
Yep.
Okay. You're talking out loud, and all of a sudden, you're like, hashtag colorway or something like that. Klimt. And I stopped, and I'm like, I turned around and I said, Gustav Klimt? And you're like, I don't know. And that's not a name that you just come up with. And so I ran into the bedroom. I had gotten new fabric in Robert Kaufman Gustav Klimt collection. And we put the colors together, and it was like dead on.
Yeah, it's gold.
It's like...
It's very, very close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a goldish color. Well, this one...
Well, I think they're all... That's all. It's like spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like... That made me like, okay, well, who is this Gustav Klimt? So, I'm sorry, I didn't know who he was, and...
You got your research on it.
I started researching. I was addicted, like, for a week. I was listening to a podcast about him. There is a really nice 30-minute podcast. I don't remember the art doctor. It's a woman who has her doctorate in fine art, and she did a 30-minute podcast just on Gustav Klimt. And he has a special place in her heart. I would, if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about who he is, listen to the Art Detective on Apple iTunes. I don't know what other...
The Art Detective.
The Art Detective. And it was real... I mean, like, I learned he had 14 illegitimate children. He lived around... he was born in the 1860s, and he died in... Actually...
1914? Or
1918.
1918.
So 100 years ago, February of 1918. And what was really cool to me, and like why the more I started learning, is that, you know, you're coming back then in the late 19th century, you have people that are starting to move around really fast because the trains are coming up. And information and influences are traveling faster, and you know, like at the end of any decade century, or the beginning of a new century, people are feeling like they're zeitgeist. They're feeling like, hey, you know, look how nouveau we are. Look how modern we are. You know, people are excited about the future, and they're starting to shed some of the desire to stick with the past. And so, like, before, like, he started his education as a realist artist. So he would sketch. I mean, like, he could do photorealistic portraits. And he ended up, I mean, like, everybody has their politics. And in the art world, there was no shortage. I'm sure there still is. There's so many critics and people thinking, like, no, this is the mainstream. And so he broke away from being a realistic artist, and it made sense too, because it's like people could get their photo taken with a camera. And so like he moved into this impressionist. So it's like every line didn't have to be perfect, and every like you could make more. I don't know what to. You could just be riskier and more dangerous with your art, and that's exactly who he was. Which it kind of reminds me of Stephen West, because here is this artist who. Almost the same thing. Like he's coming up into like he's really, really popular, and it's like he wears the most craziest patterns and lots of color, and it's not like, oh, here's a very fine looking cable knit, monochromatic.
Here's a painting of an apple next to a banana.
I mean, like, so it made me want to say, okay, what can I do with my quilting or my clothing choices? Like. Like, how could I be dangerous, even if it's something for myself, that nobody else is really aware of, but it's like, it helps you think out of the box. So there's a couple of movies that you could possibly watch. One is The Woman in Gold, and that came out a couple years ago.
Which one did I watch with you?
That one was called Gustav Klimt.
Okay, with John Malkovich.
Yeah, and that was
a little too artsy for me.
So that was not a biopic. It wasn't based on, it wasn't like a real truthful narrative. It was supposed to be a more artistic take, honoring his way of looking at things. So like Gustav Klimt, had women, instead of having this goddess with proportions that don't exist, and just looking all refined and, he had a prostitute laying on a bed naked waiting for her customer. I mean, like, he painted hair,
pubic hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your story may be verklempt.
Oh, God.
But he painted pubic hair, but then he would paint over it. So that's the
because
part.
it was for his
So he knew it was there, but nobody else did, except for maybe the person being painted.
Right.
Painted, yeah.
And so, like, he had no shortage of women that were high society women that wanted to have their portrait painted by him, and I wish I could remember the name of it, but. He wanted to tell stories. He didn't, with his art, he didn't want to just do a portrait, which, again, was one of the things that got him in trouble midway through his career, because one of the colleges in, where's he from? Alexa, who is Gustav Klimt?
Gustav Klimt was an Austrian symbolist painter and one of the most prominent members of the Vienna secession movement.
There you go.
Yes.
So he was part of the secession movement very shortly after one of the colleges in Vienna had hired him. He had 3 sketches that he was supposed to do: theory, law, and science. I'm sorry, theory, law, and medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get to finish his work because like dozens of the professors signed a petition to have him fired because he had done medicine, which is now one of the it's the painting with the snake. That here is this. It was so sensual, it blew their minds. They wanted a poster on the ceiling and on the walls that said, "This is what we do." like join the Air Force, that kind of thing.
And he gave them
sensuality, and he gave them things that they could talk about, and it was too much for them. But for that same work, he was celebrated throughout Europe, which that's what the trains were also doing. It was like in Vienna and in other parts of Europe, decadent was just like a bad word. I mean, it was like demonic. It was just too much. Whereas in Paris, which Gustav Klimt loved, it was naughty. It was,
delicious.
It was delicious. So, like, I just fell in love, and it was like, you can see why it, like, for a week, I was just obsessed about finding out who this dude is, and I'm so glad that I did.
It was a Gustav Klimt week here.
It was
with the colors everywhere, the gold, the movies, the stories. How did he have time to paint all this?
14 illegitimate children. He
That's
never
just the ones
married.
I know about.
And you'll see a woman, I forget her name, but she was his, like, companion for 20-some years. And she was his brother Ernst, who also was an amazing artist, equal to him. That was his wife, and he died of natural causes. And she ended up becoming Gustav's companion for like 20-some years. And she would like throw herself at him, and he's like, not you. And she loved him, he loved her. They acted for all intents purposes, they were married, but they weren't. And she would even tell her, or he would even tell her like all of his exploits. And then she would say, she was a fashion designer, and she would say, oh, I've got new models in. Like, she was even throwing women at him. So it was just like, it was really, really, really great to learn. And it was like, all of it was like,
just from a color of a hat.
From a color of a hat. And then I was looking at this fabric. I mean, I'm insane. So, with that said, if it's okay with you, I'm going to jump ahead.
I would like to say one thing real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Just real quick, for this and the gloves, I actually dug out my Lucky needles.
Lucky.
No, not Lucky. Lucky. And I loved them. So I don't know what it is. I remember a couple months ago, I remember mentioning that I think I used the 5 millimeters, and I wasn't happy or satisfied when I used, I think it was 3 millimeters this time. I had no problem, and I was very satisfied. I just wanted to mention that because I'm not taking back my statement, but I don't know. I mean,
what was with the one that you weren't? What was the size that you weren't digging?
The 5 millimeter. For some reason, I thought it was just holding on to the yarn too much, and I just wasn't impressed. This is a 4, but
maybe it's the yarn.
Yeah, for some reason, they don't feel any different. I don't think. I just wasn't satisfied. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try them again. And these, my little shorties, made me very happy. So whatever I said negative, I didn't say anything negative. But I wasn't impressed the first time, second time. But I went down a few needle sizes, and now I'm happy.
What is with that curl on your head?
It's my antenna.
You look like a parrot.
The mothership.
Parakeet.
The mothership is coming to get me at some point.
Beep beep.
Okay, sorry. I just had to mention that before I forgot.
No, totally.
Totally.
All right, so Gustav Klimt. This is made by Robert Kaufman, and so it's a total of 18 different fabrics. So there
too much.
are 3. So there's a cobalt.
Do you want me to pick him up so you can put on?
Nope. Okay. So there's a cobalt and a slate, and then there's a red. So there's those 3. And what's funny with this is I swear I had a tie like this in the 90s. And now I wish I had it because I could put it next to it.
Okay. I think we all had ties kind of like that in the 90s.
But maybe they were inspired.
They could have been.
I swear I had a tie like that.
I'll ask my mother. She probably has all my ties.
But these are all prints that are taken from his art.
Okay.
So, like, these actually, there's a slate. Oops. Actually, this one's more slate and purpley. And then you've got more, this is the one that has all the gem tones. And then you have more of the red. But this is a very gold metallic heavy line, which is going to be perfect for Chris's quilt.
So would you say it's like, it kind of reminds me of, the flaky gold stuff?
That's what it's, yeah, gold
Okay,
leaf.
that's gold leaf, yeah. The whole
Well, Gustav. Okay, so
if you look up Gustav Klimt on Google, you'll see his paintings, and it's looks gold leaf, gold.
Yes.
Member,
So his father was a goldsmith, and so he and his two brothers both learned goldsmithing, and they could have. I mean, like they had an intense internship to become masters working with gold. Ernst, his brother, and Gustav both said no, and they wanted to go to art college. Their other brother, and I don't know his name, he actually went into the family business. Uh-huh. But Gustav applied real gold leaf into his art, and that's where all of this is inspired.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. So this one's got more, some black speckles in it, red speckles, and you've got gray, you've got blue. I love that blue.
I like that blue too.
And then you have a lighter gold, and then green, which I ordered this from online, and I got the end of the bolt. So instead of getting just 1 yard, I think I got 1.5 yards. On the sticker it said, "Oh, you hit the jackpot," and I did. So then, the line breaks down into like squares, and then you go into triangles. So you have the red, and that is a sexy red.
It is a sexy red.
And you've got black, and you've got gold, and you got purple, and you've got gray, and then you've got this cobalt blue, and
That's cool.
It's just so gorgeous. Now, this doesn't really these are gem tones, and they're rich. And I've never worked with anything like this, so I really want to honor. I was thinking originally, when I was going to do a quilt for Chris, I was going to do. He wanted his Mardi Gras theme, purple, gold, and green.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this would be really great for that. It's more like it's jovial. Looks like a jester print. But I don't really think that this would work with this collection. I think this is just a little bit more formal. So I'm going to have to redesign when I replan. But I still do want to honor Gustav and just not make something that's like cookie cutter, that's completely traditional. I really want to take some chances and really make a piece of art.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited for it.
Yep, that's my had to have it.
Well, nor the fact that last week's episode, or the last episode, we were talking about you were on probation till January 1st,
but this
2019.
is for Christmas.
Oh, okay. So that makes it all right.
Yeah, this is for Christmas. So so that's going to be both had to have it and me so pretty someday.
All right, go for it if you want to do so pretty.
But this week, I had a flat 0 when it came to I made that.
Should we move on to what am I making?
What are you making?
All right. So, first thing, I took this to Knit Night because I didn't know how complex people got, and I knew there might be a little bit of chatter, so I didn't want anything that was complicated. So I'm working on still my second dotted raised shawl in the yarn that Chip got me.
Oh, watch my eyes.
It is bright.
I love it.
It's bright, and is it the Chopel? I think Chopel. It was the ball sock yarn. I'm using this. Sorry, kitty cat. I don't know if people can see that or not. But no, I am enjoying it. It's just not necessarily my colors, but something like this, when you put it on, you have to own it and rock it like you own it.
I love it.
I think I need to start the other ball just to get a little bit more blue in there for my colors.
You know what? When you wear that in October, people are going to be so like, where the heck did you get that? I made it.
You think so?
Oh, God, yeah. I love it.
Yeah, well, right now it looks all right. So, but I don't even know. I still have all this left and an entire another ball. So I might not even need the third ball. So, yeah, I still love this pattern. I love working this dotted raised pattern. Suggested anyone get to it. It's exciting. The next thing I am changing my relationship from any relationship to it, but it's complicated.
Is this your rage quit?
This is my I did not have a rage quit. So I started to work.
He had a rage quit.
I didn't have a rage quit. I didn't throw anything. I threw a fit. So this is the left front side of my neighborly cardigan. No, good kitty. No, let's take that paw away. The left front side of my cardigan. So for some reason, a couple days ago, I was like, I can't find this piece of paper, whatever. So I printed the entire pattern out again. Apparently the pattern changed on July 15th. I think I printed this out on around the beginning of July. And now there's pictures and everything on it. And there's a little bit of errata that says, hey, a couple of these things have changed. New errata. Yes. So the pictures seriously help. I wish they were there before. I effed up. And I got about right here. And then I realized I didn't start.
The arm was next to
the arm was next to here. Basically, I started to do some stuff on this side.
No,
it should have been on this side.
The neck was on the side of the arm.
Yes, and then I said fudge, and a few other things, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna rip it back. Well, the reason I knew it was wrong was because I looked at the picture. And I was like, oh, this looks nothing like mine. So I started to rip it back. Then the parts that I bound off.
I didn't say
I was
fudge.
trying to. What did I say fudge? I tried to and my yarn broke.
Rage quit.
It's not like I went.
Oh, it was.
So it's still bound off right here, which I need to take back and go back. I should have put a lifeline in. I didn't. All of you people out there judging me. Look how adorable I am. Don't judge this. And my kitty. So, we're going to take a break from this. I just need to put it down for a while, and I was going to start yesterday on it again, and I was just like, I can't. But I love the way the cables are looking and everything. So, it's just, I didn't take too much on. It's just 6 pieces that sew together, and part of me is thinking, I would love just to maybe start a sweater that I kind of knit top down in the round. Like maybe do the flax sweater again in different colors and maybe alter it a little bit. Or start on the Marled Mania sweater because I love the way that looks on a lot of people when that was on the rage a few months ago. So I'm not quitting it. I'm just putting it on probation for a little bit. Then eventually we will get back together and go on a few dates. And I'll get the needle and start going.
It'll be all right. And if it's not, it'll be okay.
Yeah, so, but I just noticed that these...
But you will never make that mistake again.
I could wear these again. These kind of together. Maybe.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I kind of like that. So yeah, again, I'm not finished. I mean, I already have the back finished, which hopefully nothing like that. What'd you do?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought you were up to something. I never know with you and your tricks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's complicated right now, so... That's all I have for, what are you making?
What are you making?
So, Chip, what are you making?
Well, I was, and I wish now I had printed it out. So I have my Drunken Glass, which is the Allison Glass 76 collection. And then it's made from the Drunkard's Path. So I have completed...
How far are you opening it? Do you want me to hold it?
No. I'm not going to open it.
A little peek, a little tease?
A little tease. So I've got...
I love it.
76 of these. And they're actually running vertically and horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that way too, though. It's too late.
Yeah.
But I have this finally all pieced together, so I am going to sandwich and quilt it next. I dropped my Bernina. The part finally came to replace the thread cutter, so I wanted to pause because you definitely want your thread cutter when you're trying to quilt bling.
Yeah, fun. They're everywhere.
Yeah. So, but there was one strip that I was piecing together that I didn't pin, and I was so sorry that I didn't. Like, I know better. And it was like, I was getting towards the end, you know, and I was just like, I can do this. And especially when you're trying to make corners meet, like, you want to pin. Take the time to pin. It takes maybe 2 minutes. And I didn't, and it ended up taking me more time. But I'm really pleased that, like, I have to go back and take all the little snivvies, as my grandmother would say. All my corners meet. Like, so here's a corner.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So, like, all my corners are meeting really well, and so I'm very, very, very pleased, and it's colorful.
It's king size, right?
King size, you know me. And king size for my king size man.
And I choose to stay.
Yeah, so this is, actually, it's 110 by 110. That's without the border. So I think usually I do like a 1-inch border, but I think I'm going to go up a size just because I want a little bit thicker border. But I really am very proud that I chose this project because when you're, you know, like if you'll do something once, a technique, yeah, you've done it before, but you don't know how to do it. And again, they say it takes 10,000 hours to master any skill. So I have a lot of hours invested in curves, and it really taught me what I was doing. And so, like, I had already done curves like sleeves and necks and, you know, on pants. But just to do curve after curve, because that's really all this is curved piecing, it was really good practice. And
I think that's why I make things usually twice in something. Because you go through it the first time, you kind of learn what's coming up, what's happening. Then during the middle of the process, you're like, oh, I wish I kind of would have done this, or would have done this, or a different color even. And then the next time around, you kind of do it more tailored to what you would naturally do besides the pattern.
If I were to do this again, it's like I know that every curve could be perfect, and I would not sacrifice. So, like, I ran out of fabric, and I used some stuff in my stash. So, like, most of the white is Kona cotton, which is really, it's good. It's good fabric. It's a heavier weight. I used some white fabric that I don't even know what it was, and it's thinner. And like when I'm pressing it, it wants to stretch out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I should have just gone out and got more when I ran out, because it really made a difference. And so I wouldn't sacrifice on it. And I just know that this really is turning out really great.
Oh, I love the color.
But I know that I could even do a better job. And so,
well, that's being your own worst critic and all that good stuff.
Yeah. But
you can't obsess about things because it will just take you forever.
And I was even showing the lady at the fabric store that, you know, like, hey, this is what I'm working on. You know, this is why I need my machine back. And like, she was like, oh, curves. And I was like, you work in a quilt shop. She doesn't want to touch curves. And it was like, we've got some friendly advice, like there's special feet. Like, you don't really need special feet to achieve a good curve.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about knowing how to hold the fabric and what you're looking for, knowing when to tug and when not to tug. And it's just like you get your own rhythm. And it was, to me, it was a lot of fun.
Good.
So that's one. So
great.
I've got that one cooking.
I think you're being a distraction now. Stop cleaning.
Oh, he's fine. So then the next one is I went stash diving, and I was like, okay, what am I going to make? Well, I've always wanted to make a orange peel quilt, and I'm already on curve, so I was like, okay, let's keep the momentum going. still got to clock those 10,000 hours. So I went into my Electric Quilt EQ8 software and I just put together very, very quickly, tried different variations and wound up with the first one anyway. But it's all basically little peels that make circles. And this one's going to end up 70 by 84. And in the white background, we have Robert Kaufman Architecture's text. And
I can do that. My arms are longer.
That's all right.
Oh, I got okay.
So it's not really, I don't know if it's showing up well, but it's got random words. It doesn't actually complete full sentences, but I liked the background. And so I used my AccuQuilt to cut out the inside white parts. And here is the
magic.
What do they call it?
The die?
The die. Whew, thank you.
Look at me.
Look
I
at
know
you.
stuff.
So I used that. I need 120 of these. I don't know if I'm going to have enough fabric. I did order more. I'm running out. So, so I've got the white backgrounds, and then I have a picture for you that we put on Instagram of the fabric that I've chosen, but it's basically a line of 20 different fabrics, and who is it? It is, oh my gosh, and some artisan Lun for Robert Kaufman, and
oh, this is so awesome. I like that one.
okay, so we've got orange peels. Oh, that looked like you were right. It looked like
A court gesture.
Court gesture, and so basically the cutter makes, these are all batiks, and then solids. So like it'll all.
Why does it look like it has a little nipple?
That's the notch.
Okay.
So when I line things up.
Interesting.
So when you line things up, you have the peel. Yeah, you could do that.
Well, fun.
Yeah. So again, this is going to be a 70 by 84, and still a big size, but it's not big enough for the bed. But I wanted something that finally, I'm going to make something for the couch for me.
Woo! I have a question.
My box
Your big white box.
collapsed. Why are you raising your hand?
Because I had a question. What program did you use to make this?
Electric Quilt 8, EQ8.
EQ8.
Mm-hmm.
Are you satisfied with it?
Very much so. And actually, they just had an update, so you can. There's ways of altering how many blocks are in your quilt. You can design. There's all of these different blocks, shapes that you just basically drag and drop. Or you can actually stylize and make your own creation. So, like if you're doing embroidery. Now they just had an update that I could share this on Facebook. So with a click, boom, your design goes on Facebook, which everybody's sharing.
Do you think you could use knitting? Like if I wanted to create some kind of Fair Isle pattern, I could use it? Or is it... There's got to be a way to transpose it, right?
You could use that. So like, I tell it the sizes. So like you're needing to know stitches though.
Yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So you'll have to make some kind of conversion.
Okay.
Maybe you should try it.
Okay, yeah, I want to try it, see what happens.
But
You need to go down, please.
let's see if I can take these out without messing them up too much.
Can I show this one because I'm in love with it? I'm in love with this one. I love the orange and blue together. Maybe my next sweater should be like an orange and blue because I'm
Like
really,
they just
really
have
loving.
like it's very colorful. Their line. So we can put right here what the name is, or in the comments so that you can look it up. But it's all batiks, 20 fat quarters. Actually, I am using 2, so I'm using a half a yard of each. Just because, like, unfortunately, these will eat up a lot of fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for it, and
Yeah.
I love how you're creating your own things now. I like things you take a pattern and you mix and match them now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where did this one go?
Excuse me.
Right there.
I got cat hair in my mouth.
So that is number 2. So, like, actually it was funny. When I was at the store dropping off the machine, the lady's like, do you work on many projects at one time? And I'm like, I really do try to be monogamous. And she's like, oh, no. She goes, I've got like so many things working at all the time. And I will tell you, somebody at work said he likes to recreate with an adult legal substance on the weekend and clean. And like he'll go around and like he just can't, he zigzags all day.
Really? That's I can't be monogamous. Like if I'm doing a big project, big projects for me I think are more weekdays. Like I'm gonna work an hour on the sweater tonight, hour tomorrow. And I think weekends are my days that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see what I can bust out this week, like a hat, gloves, something like that. I notice I'm kind of going that way.
But that fits with your personality because you're like, you leave a trail of chaos behind you most times. Mm-hmm. Again, the fork in the garbage can. And I get like such tunnel vision when I'm like into something. Again, like Gustav Klimt, like I was just like a week, like just podcasts, whatever, TV shows or anything. Like I just get so caught up into what I'm doing, and it's like sometimes like in the in between when I'm taking those naps, like I'm on.
It's for brain power.
It is because it's like I know that I want to do something, but it's like it's just like I got blocked. And it's like when I do something, I want it to be this big, huge quilt, or I want it to be, and it's like I really have to be inspired
that way.
And when
whatever, see what's going on here, see whatever.
And when I start, like I could forget to eat. I will do it sun up to sundown
till ice cream comes around. Never forget your ice cream.
Nope. I think we should have a celebration. Because this is episode 10. This is the end of season 1.
This is the end of season 1. And the only way to come back with season 2 is if we get one more follower.
Oh. Because you know what? We've been renewed.
We've been renewed. Tell all your friends. Tell your family.
We have been renewed for season 2. We've been picked up.
I know. We've been picked up, you guys.
And we heard
just got the call today.
Well, wait. So we heard you. Nobody likes this.
Yeah.
And we don't know what to do. We don't, like, our situation is, like, not really, like, my sewing area is just too cramped. It's like, that was episode 1. That's still episode 1, and it didn't work.
Yeah, we're kind of, because we noticed that in our videos, when there's a certain backdrop, we get more, like if Chip's quilt's back there or something.
Honey, they drop.
We get more viewers and stuff like that. And we know a couple of people said, hey, love the show, but we need something visually stunning besides me to look at during the whole show. You're adorable. But yes, in this one. But yeah, so we need to figure out a background. We want to kind of work on our audio. But season 1's over. So...
This is it. Is this as good as it gets? What if this is as good as it ever is going to get?
Then I'm good with that. Oh, you're not.
Oh.
I thought I was good with that. But anyways, yeah. With that, I don't have anything else.
Well, no, I want to go back to what you just said. So, like, if we're in a rut, if something's going on, we'll say to each other,
oh, we're
this
is really
as good as it ever is going to get. And it kind of, it just makes us go quiet for a minute, but it helps us remember, like, you know, hey, we've got to be thankful.
We got a lot of things others don't have.
And I am so thankful to the makers that are out there that have shown us love and that have...
People are so nice to us. People reach out all the time. Hey, da da da. And it's just like, it's amazing how people watch us. One, apparently, they get a giggle. Whatever. It's supposed to be a very serious show.
Well, that's because fat people are jolly.
We're very fat and jolly. But just people giving advice we love. People asking for advice. When people, like other knitters, like us on Instagram, I'm like, and I look at their page and I see all the work they're doing. I'm like, why is this person tuning into our little dog and pony act? It's just amazing. But then I know it's not about that. But everybody out there is making us very happy, and we're hoping that we make you guys happy once or twice a month.
Well, when are we going to come back to make them happy?
I don't. Hopefully, we'll get back on a 2 or 3 week schedule. I mean,
well, that's the tough thing. Sometimes it's like our makes are dictating how often we can produce.
Yeah, especially if both of us don't have anything to show. Like today, obviously, it was a errand day. But then a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I don't have anything. We need to push it out a week. So, no. I think, well, especially since winter is coming.
Could you please fix that hair?
No.
It looks so silly. It looks like a parakeet. There.
Whatever.
Okay.
I'm over it. But yeah. I don't even remember what I was saying because you distracted me too much by my little
with your hair,
my little piece of hair. Whatever.
Somebody reached out to you
about what?
I don't know.
See, that's what I don't know. Whatever. Okay. I think we should end it now and thank the people for their time.
Yeah. So
I said good day.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time
for season 2.
Yay! With more cats. Right?
You are so silly.
I love him.
I can't believe you stayed for the whole show.
I love him.